What you saying, ladies and gents? It is your boy Bucket Sam and we are back again today for another video. Today's video we're going to be going through every single Premier League team and telling you one player they need to sign this summer before the season starts. So do you know what? Let's get right into it. Roll that intro. But before we get right into it, we are so close to hitting 1k subscribers, 1,000 subscribers in less than a year. I cannot believe it. I want to thank every single one of you now. But if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, it's literally just down there, or it might be down there, I don't know. But go smash that like button and please subscribe. You don't realise how much it helps. Thank you. Let's get right into it. Let's start with Arsenal. Now on to the London Giants Arsenal, the first club in the league that I'm going to be talking about. Arsenal finished 8th last season. Pretty average season considering how it started. They ended very well and they went into the last 5 games unbeaten, winning all 5, so pretty good at the end of the season. Hopefully you can take that form into next season. Well, the one thing I'm going to talk about is the fact they play in a 4-2-3-1 formation, very attacking, very progressive, and the problem for me is not the defence as a whole. They only conceded 39 goals last season, which is the second least. Only Man City conceded less, so I'm telling you now, it's not the defence or the goalkeeper, but I think it is the right back. I know I said it's not the defence, but I want attacking right back in this team, more of a wing back, somebody who really drives on forward. I don't think Hector Bellerin or Cedric are both good enough. 4 goal contributions between the two across 35 games last season. It's not good enough, is it really? It's not good enough. So I'm telling you now, they need to change that position. The 2 alternatives I'm going to give you now is 1, Kieran Trippier. He's 30 years old. He got 6 goal contributions last season. That's pretty good. He had a very solid Euros, and we know he's so good going forward and defensively, and he can whip in a great ball. I think he'd be huge in the Premier League for Arsenal, but I think he's too old. At 30 years of age now, I don't think he really suits the Arsenal way. So the player I think Arsenal should sign is a Leon right back, 5 for 8, very good going forward. He got 8 goal contributions last season. This is Leo Dubois. Leo Dubois, very, very good. And I know he said he's 5 for 8, but I tell you now, this guy has got a leap on him, so he'll win everything in the air. He's very good going forward, very, very fast. He was originally a right winger, and they converted him to a right back because, as I said, he's just so aggressive and he loves a tackle. I think he'd be huge, and he'd really suit the Arsenal progressive style of play, transitional play going forward. The overlaps would be huge for them. I think he'd suit the style, and I think they should sign him. So Arteta, sign him up. Aston Villa. Now, where do I start with them? They had a very good season last year, finishing 11th, but at one point they were pushing on for Europe. But mid-table finish is very good considering the season before that they just about scraped to stay up. But I think it's quite easy, and I think we all know what the Villa need here, really. Obviously, they're reliant on Grealish, but they've got Buendia in who can play a similar sort of play on the wing and create a lot of chances. So originally it would have been them, but they have sorted out that problem. Now for the next problem, they need a backup striker. Ollie Watkins last season played 37 games, scored 14 goals. Very good season, actually, for the Englishman. Good start. I genuinely think that. But the problem is the backup striker. They have Keenan Davis and Wesley, and between the two of them last season, I can't even fathom this stat. Between the two of them, they scored 1 goal last season. 1 goal. It's not good enough. They need a backup striker, and there's one man who I really think would suit the style. Obviously, Villa either play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, so they only ever play with 1 striker. So this guy will just be a backup striker. And I think the perfect man is Adam Armstrong, the 5'6" Englishman, 24 years old. Last season scored 28 goals and got 5 assists. 33 goal contributions last season, and we know the Villa like to dip into the Championship, and because he is a good standard, the talent is there. And I think Adam Armstrong coming on late on in the game would provide something different. I don't think he'd start, but with his pace that he has and his pressing would be ideal with when you're playing up against the last 20 minutes, when you're playing against slow defenders who are tired and everything. I think he'd be perfect for that system. Very good backup striker. Would cost around 15 to 20 million. Obviously got to compete with Southampton and Norwich, who are both linked with him, but I think he would suit them. So I think Aston Villa, Adam Armstrong. Brentford. Now, this is an interesting one. Obviously, Brentford have just been promoted from the Championship, and as I wrote my notes, I said the one position they need to fix is the centre-back. But as of recording, they've just signed Christopher Adjer from Celtic for 13.5 million, so they obviously don't need to get a new centre-back. There are 2 positions I believe they really need to sort out, and it is the right-back position and the goalkeeper. Henrik Dalsgaard has left, so they need to sort it. There's a gaping hole there, but I think more importantly, the biggest worry for Brentford next season is the goalkeeper. David Raya He's a good shot stopper, but he has got a lot of mistakes in him, and we've seen some howlers last season. Passing out from the back is not his... I say it's not his forte. He's very confident, and I think he's overconfident at some points. The 25-year-old does make a lot of mistakes. I think they need an experienced goalkeeper who can either compete or be on the bench or even start ahead of him. Who knows? But I think there are two keepers here that we could choose from. I think Nyland, the former Aston Villa goalkeeper who is currently a free agent, has been training at Norwich, but they haven't offered him anything. They could go in and offer him a contract straight up. Or I think they could sign Darren Randolph. Darren Randolph at West Ham is second choice keeper to Fabianski, but West Ham are linked with Sam Johnson, so Darren Randolph may be available, and that's who I think realistically. Darren Randolph is the keeper that Brentford need to really potentially try and survive next year. It will be difficult. Yes, they've got Ivan Toney, but I think it'll be difficult for them. So Darren Randolph is the man. Brighton. This is a difficult one. Brighton, who finished 16th in the league, play some really nice, expansive football, but they sit in 16th position. And I thought about this long and hard. What do they really need? They either play a 3-4-2-1 formation or a 3-4-1-2. And I looked at their strikers. I think Maupay is just not clinical enough, and I don't think Danny Welbeck does it enough. And I think he's very injury prone. I know, yes, last season, yes, he did score a few goals, but I think they need another striker, somebody who's clinical. And one striker who I think would really, really suit the Brighton expansive football, getting in behind, coming in deep, somebody who's very good on the ball and can link up with other strikers, would be Josh Maja. Josh Maja, we saw at Fulham, had moments of brilliance, but I think the problem was that he was at Fulham, who don't really create many chances, especially near the end of the season. Yes, he scored 3 goals in 15 games. It's not great, but I tell you now, you stick him in that Brighton side, he will score so many goals because they create so many chances for Welbeck and Maupay, and they just missed constantly throughout the season. So I genuinely think Josh Maja would really suit the Brighton style of play. There you go. That's my tip for you. Burnley, 17th place Burnley. Now what do they need? They obviously signed Nathan Collins on an undisclosed fee from Stoke and Wayne Hennessy on a free, but I think there's a gaping hole in this Burnley side. They need a backup striker, or even just a striker. Yes, Chris Wood scored 12 goals last season, but the backup striker in Ashley Barnes scored 3 goals all season. They were the 3rd lowest goal scorers in the league. Only Fulham and Sheffield United scored less. They need a better striker, and I think there's one man who plays for Cardiff who is suited to them to a T. The 6'4" striker who scored 20 goals last season for Cardiff. It is Kiefer Moore. Kiefer Moore, who had a very good Euros tournament, scoring 1 goal in 4 games, but looked very solid. I think he would suit the style of play. Flick-ons would be brilliant. He's a great finisher. I think he'd really suit the Burnley style of play. And overall, I don't want to say Brexit team, obviously, because do you know what, I've just said it. He suits the Brexit 11. He suits that long ball style, flicking it on, taking the chances when he gets them. I think he would bag quite a few goals, and him and Chris Wood would be a handful up top together in that 4-4-2 system. So do you know what? Kiefer Moore is the man. The 28-year-old is the man. And now let us discuss, here we go, Chelsea. Chelsea had a very solid season under Tuchel, obviously with that Champions League win. But one thing I do think they need is a striker. Yes, Timo Werner could light up the league this year. We all thought it last season, he didn't. Maybe he's just taking time to suit to the Premier League style of play. But obviously Olivier Giroud has gone to AC Milan, so I think they need a striker. And there's one man who they have to sign. They've got the money to. It's got to be Haaland. I don't see why they don't just go in for him. We've seen them spend money in the past. They can afford him. They can drop 150 million on a player. We know what Chelsea are like, and I don't know why they haven't yet. I think they need to. The guy played... It's just mental when you think about his stats now. 28 games, 27 goals and 6 assists. I think he's suited to a T to the Chelsea style of play. He's suited to the Premier League. Obviously, he's very physical, very fast, very good on the ball. I think he's pretty much the perfect striker. And I think Chelsea need to go and get them. If they really want to compete with Man City and Liverpool, potentially if Liverpool come back this season, at the top of the table, I think they need to buy Haaland. So Haaland is the man for Chelsea. Now on to probably the most intriguing squad and team of the season. It's going to be Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira's men. Who knows what starting lineup it's going to be, what style of play, but I can only go on what he did at Nice. And one thing he did like to do is build from the back. And obviously he's lost a lot of players. Palace releasing over 11 players last summer. Oh, sorry, this summer just gone. I don't know why I keep saying last summer. I've said it twice in the video, but this summer just gone. And we've seen the likes of Patrick Van Aanholt, Wayne Hennessy, Scott Dan, Gary Cahill, so many, Connor Wickham, so many players being released. But more importantly, I think they need to strengthen the goalkeeping position. Wayne Hennessy, the backup goalkeeper, has been released and gone to Burnley. And Gaeta is the goalkeeper, and he is simply not good enough. When he plays, I think it's like a 21-year-old goalkeeper. He seems so inexperienced. He seems positionally unaware, and his passing accuracy is not good. His passing accuracy is exactly 50% last season. 50% passing accuracy, and if Vieira is going to play the style he did at Nice and build up from the back, that is not good enough. And his save percentage is 60%. And the goalkeeper I think could come in and will do a better job. Obviously, this is not due to the Nice link, okay? Walter Benitez, the Nice goalkeeper, the Argentinian 28-year-old keeper, who is 3 years younger than Gaeta, so they've got more time with him, will cost around 15 million. But here we go. Passing wise, his passing accuracy is 79%, which is brilliant, and 91% in his own half, which is very, very solid. And not only that, his saving accuracy is 70%, so he's better saving percentages wise, better passing wise, he's younger, and I think he'd be so much more suited to this progressive style of play that Vieira wants to play, and I think it's vital. So Walter Benitez is the man for Palace. And now on to Everton, who finished 10th place last year in the Premier League. And this will be a really interesting one. Obviously, they released a lot of players, and they're looking at signing quite a few players. Obviously, they signed Andros Townsend, Begovic, two very odd signings, both on a free, but that's beside the point. I think they need to strengthen in the right back position. Rafa Benitez, you know, it's going to be very defensively sound. And they're linked with one player, Dumfries, but I don't understand the link, because obviously Dumfries isn't as... Don't take this the wrong way, he's a very good player going forward, but we saw it for Netherlands in the Euros, and we've seen it for PSV now. He's very good going forward, but defensively, he's a bit here, not there. In case he makes a mistake, but he's more attacking wise. And with Rafa, he likes a solid back four, a team that is hard to beat. Yes, he wants that touch of class going forward, but more importantly, he wants a team that will not concede. And that's my only worry with Dumfries. Yes, Dumfries would be a brilliant player, don't get me wrong. Very good signing, but just a bit confused with that one. And I think he'd be more of a luxury player. I think they need a player like Rick Karsdorp, the AS Roma right back. 26 years old, Netherlands international, who didn't get into the team because of Dumfries, but I think this guy is absolutely brilliant. Defensively sound, strong, tall. He's an athlete, really. Very good going forward. Scored 1 goal and got 6 assists last season. I think he'd be more suited to a Rafa style of play, because I think he's more defensively sound than Dumfries. But either of those two would be a brilliant signing. So we'll say Dumfries or Rick Karsdorp for my player for Everton. 9th place Leeds now, who had a very good season last season, but I think they could potentially push on a little bit further next season and push for that European spot. Now, I don't know why I said European. That was so weird. Anyway, European spot, that's what I was trying to say. And I would have said they need an Alioski replacement, but they have just signed Junior Firpo from Barcelona, who will slot in straight away there. I think they need a midfielder, somebody who is creative, because Pablo Hernandez obviously has gone. Not only that, Helder Costa isn't good enough. Yes, they've signed Jack Harrison, but I think they need a player who can play right wing, left mid, who can play behind the striker. And that man is Mateus Pereira, the West Brom man who did get relegated, but scored 11 goals and got 6 assists. That's unreal for a struggling side like West Brom, and I think he would be huge in that Leeds side. I think the only thing that's holding him back is his work rate, but I think Bielsa can change it. I think he would suit that style so well, so technically gifted, and can literally spray the ball around like it's nothing. Brilliant dead ball situations, would suit the Leeds style to a T if he just works on that work rate. So, Mateus Pereira for Leeds. Leicester now, who finished 5th in the league, just missed out on that Champions League spot. I think they need another bit of youth in that defence, because I think Johnny Evans, he's getting a lot older now, and as I've spoke about earlier with Seamus Coleman, you need to replace these older players, because what will happen is if you don't replace them now, in say 2 years time when they leave us on a free, there's no one who's come in, and it's desperate. I think you should slowly transition a player out of the squad like they did with Wes Morgan, and I think the man who could replace Johnny Evans is Tosin Adarabioyo, who signed for 1.5 million from Man City last season to Fulham, and he had the season of his life. Current market value is saying that he's around 10.5 million. Absolutely mental. Went up by 4 times in value after last season. 6'4", so good on the ball. His passing accuracy is so good, and he's in the top 5 for the most progressive passes accurately made. That was really weird the way I just said that. Let me try again. In the top 5 for most accurate. You know what I'm trying to say? Balls forward, basically progressive play. Most accurate passes, he's in the top 5 in defenders in the league last season, and Fulham weren't doing that a lot. Fulham were just passing sideways, back and forward, so to be able to do that in that Fulham side, I think he's suited. I think he'd be perfect for Leicester and one for the future. Only 23, so he's got so many years to come, and they could probably get him on the cheap. I think he'd really suit that 3 at the back style that Leicester have played all of last season. That 3-4-1-2, 3-4-2-1, whatever you want to call it. So, Tosin Adarabioyo is the Leicester man. Liverpool now, who didn't retain a title and don't think anyone expected them to because they had a pretty poor season, but they did come back later on in the season, winning 5 in a row at the end of the season. And I did think originally a centre-back, but obviously they signed Konate from RB Leipzig for around 35 million, a very good defender. I think they need to replace Gini Wijnaldum because I think the thing is, he's a very good midfielder, box-to-box midfielder, very good going forward, very good defensively, and I think he was underrated at Liverpool. I don't think they tried to keep hold of him as much as they should have, and I think we're going to see a gaping hole in that midfield because he was huge for them going forward and defensively. And I think really the only player I can think of who's similar to him, if they want to keep the same style of play and the same formation, I think they're going to have to go in for Youri Tielemans, and I think it will cost a lot. He's 24 years old, obviously had a brilliant tournament with Belgium, brilliant season last year. I think it's going to be 60 or 70 million at least for Youri Tielemans, but I think they have to sign somebody who is like Wijnaldum because he works so well in that system for them, in that 4-3-3. I don't know who else. You guys could tell me in the comment section below if you can think of anyone else other than who plays like Gini Wijnaldum, other than Youri Tielemans. There's no one, is there? So they're going to have to sign Youri Tielemans. I don't think it's realistic, but I think that's the player they're going to have to sign. Now to Man City, and obviously they've won the league last year. Brilliant squad, brilliant side. I don't really think there are many players that they need because the squad as it is absolutely unreal. And it obviously depends which style of play Man City go for. Are they going to carry on playing the false 9? Who knows? And that is the problem. But I know this is a bit of a cop-out. Aguero obviously went, so it's got to be Haaland. If they're going to play with the false 9, obviously they won't need him. But I think Haaland would be huge for Man City. Imagine the amount of goals he would score. It would be unreal. I know I said Chelsea need him, but Man City need him. Everyone needs him, to be honest, but Man City are one of the only clubs that can really afford him. I can't see Kane going to Man City, so I think Haaland is more likely than Kane. Could you imagine that? He's obviously, as I said earlier, 27 goals a season. Imagine him for Man City. He'd be scoring 200 goals a season. But yeah, Haaland for Man City. Now on to Man United. And for me, I don't give me hate for this. I don't think Varane is what United need. I don't think they needed a right-footed centre-back. They need a left-footed centre-back because I think it helps so much transitionally and moving the ball faster around the pitch. Don't get me wrong, Varane's a good player. But I think they've been better with Pau Torres. Pau Torres, Villarreal, 24 years old, had a great Euros. And we all know what he's like. He's big, he's strong, and he's so good on the ball. And you know that with a Spanish player, he's going to be able to spray it around. We saw it in the Euros. Left-footed is what they need. So Pau Torres, I don't know how much he'd cost. There's not really much online. No one's really been linked with him. At Villarreal, I think they should go in for him. Scrap Varane. If you're listening now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, scrap Varane. Sign Pau Torres. Would be better suited for them. Newcastle. Where do we start? Newcastle, one thing, everyone knows it. They need a striker. Saint-Maximin, Almiron, very good wingers. They just need to just provide for a striker. It's not even difficult. It's a striker they need. They've been screaming out for a striker for so many seasons. And they've got Joe Linton. Andy Carroll being released. They need a striker. It's not even a discussion. I think every Newcastle fan watching this agrees with me. They need a striker. And I think the man they need to sign is an old player who they did sell to Fulham. I think they need Mitrovic. I think he would suit the style so well. Imagine with those wingers putting in all the balls constantly. Yes, I know Saint-Maximin and Almiron play on the side, so they have to cut into their stronger foot. But even then, they chip them to the back post. Mitrovic will score so many goals, and the link-up player will be able to hold the ball up, pass it on. He's kind of like Rondon. Rondon really suited Newcastle because he held up the ball well, moved it on fast, and scored quite a few goals. So I think Mitrovic would be a brilliant signing. Obviously, Scott Parker has left Fulham now, but Scott Parker had a problem with Mitrovic. I don't know what it is, but I think Mitrovic is Premier League standard. I don't know why he didn't play last season, but I think he should go back to Newcastle. I think it's simple as that. Mitrovic is the Newcastle man. Now on to Norwich. Norwich have spent quite a lot and brought in quite a few players. Obviously with Buendia going, they've kind of just splashed the cash really for them. But there's one player who is linked away with basically every club in the Premier League, and that's Max Aarons. The potential departure means they are being linked with other fullbacks, and I think they will have to replace him personally. I think the perfect man will be a loan deal for Brandon Williams. We know what he does at Man United. He's very good going forward, very good defensively, plays at left back, but he's right-footed. Quite odd, but it somehow works quite well. And I think potentially it'd be a good move for both parties. I think really help Brandon Williams getting some proper game time because he kind of really didn't get any chances last season. He did the season before, but last season he didn't really get many chances. And I think Norwich would be a perfect team. They just kind of bomb on forward, so he would perfectly be suited to them because he's, you know, what you're going to get with Norwich. It's just gung ho. So it'll be interesting to see whether they stay up. But I think Brandon Williams will be the perfect man for Norwich. Now, the perfect player for Southampton, the next club, I have already spoken about earlier on, and it is Adam Armstrong. As I said, we know how many goals he scored, 33 goal contributions from the Championship, but Southampton actually are in talks with him, so I think he's the perfect man. I said it earlier, brilliant striker, very good, and potentially with Danny Ings moving on, with him declining contract offers, I think Adam Armstrong would really suit Southampton and the pressing style of play that they play, and with everyone just going forward, pressing so high in possession base, I think he'd be really suited to it. So Adam Armstrong, I know I've said him before, I don't mean to sound like a cop-out, but I think Adam Armstrong would be really suited to Southampton. Now on to Tottenham, and I feel like I sound like when a new manager's going, I'm just linking with players that played for the old club, but they're players that suit the style and suit the system. And Nuno Espirito Santo, why am I struggling to say that? Nuno anyway, we'll just say Nuno. He's obviously the new Tottenham manager, and I think he will be playing a 3 at the back system. He's played, that's his system, he sticks to it, he doesn't change, and I think he will probably play that with Tottenham. I think Tottenham do have the right players to do it. I think Eric Dyer could be huge next season, you never know. I doubt it, I've just said it and I've changed my mind already, so I don't think Eric Dyer will be huge in this system because Nuno likes players who are very, very good on the ball, and I don't think Eric Dyer is fast enough on the ball, and I know it's going to sound like a cop-out, but I think Conor Cody would be perfect for Tottenham, and that's one transfer they need to make, because I think, imagine him with better centre-backs and fast centre-backs with him, he'd be huge. The balls he would spray around, and I think he'd be great. I think it's a perfect sign, really. I don't want to sound like a cop-out, I know I do, but I think Conor Cody will be the best transfer Tottenham could make in that back 3. With Watford, I think it's a very exciting prospect, some really good talent in this side, and it should be interesting to see how they cope. Obviously, they did so well in the Championship last season, but the Premier League's completely different. Kettle of fish, is that a phrase? Have I just made that up? Who knows, but I think one player that would be suited to them so well would be Luka João, the Reading striker, who scored 19 goals and got 7 assists in 39 games. He's very tall, he's strong, he's fast, he's Portuguese. I think he would really suit the style of play. He's still quite young, but I'm telling you now, I think he's very good. He's got 27% goal conversion, which is 1 in 4 shots, just under 1 in 4 shots. I think that's brilliant, to be honest. I think he'd really suit the style of player. Obviously, with Troy Deeney, you know what you're going to get. He's a very good player, but he is starting to age. I think they need a bit of youth and a bit of pace in that front line. Obviously, with him, with Islam, why can I never say his name? Sarr as well, I think would be huge going forward for Watford, and it'd give them the best chance they could have in staying up. So that is my player. I think they need to sign Luka João. Now on to West Ham, who had an absolutely amazing season last year, and I think we can all say no one expected. David Moyes did turn it round, and fair play to him. Very good season, just class really. Obviously it'd be brilliant if they could sign Jesse Lingard, but I think there are players that are more important to this system under David Moyes, and I think they need to get a new goalkeeper because Darren Randolph isn't good enough. Flapianski makes too many mistakes, so I think Sam Johnstone is the man. They could probably get him for around 15 million, I'd say. I think that's what West Brom are apparently reportedly accepting, anything between 15 and 25 million. I think he's great. I think he's a cheap alternative to Aaron Ramsdale, and I think he's better than Aaron Ramsdale. Obviously, most saves in the league, and he was huge for West Brom. Sam Johnstone kept West Brom in so many games. You can think back to Man City when they drew 1-1 with Man City in the league. It was huge. Sam Johnstone is a brilliant goalkeeper, very good with his distribution, very good shot stopper, and yeah, I think Sam Johnstone will be a brilliant signing, and it would really help West Ham for that, again, European push. To the final club of the video, it is Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I think they need a winger. Obviously, with Diego Jota going last season, Neto is injured, Podence hasn't had a great season. I know they've signed Trincao, but I still think they need another winger just in case, because it's a lot of pressure putting on a young player like Trincao and expecting him to light up the league. Obviously, he can play anywhere going forward in the midfield or on the wing. But I think, realistically, Danjuma would be perfect for Wolves. Danjuma signed for 13.5 million for Bournemouth 2 seasons ago. I think they could get him for around 25 million, 20 million. That's kind of the figures they're saying. He says he wants to join Leeds, but I think he'd really be suited for Wolves. I think he's a brilliant player. Scored 17 goals from midfield, from the wing, and got 7 assists. It's class. I don't think it's even a question. Wolves need to go in for him. I know they have the money. They need more creative sparks going forward, because I think Neto is huge for them, but Neto's injured, so they can't put all this pressure on Trincao. So I think Dan Juma would be a brilliant signing for the Wolves. So a huge thank you for watching, guys. Please smash that like button. Please subscribe, because there's going to be so much Premier League content going out constantly. So thank you guys for watching. Please, as I've said, like and subscribe. Just do your thing. Get us to that 1K. And thank you again and again and again and again. But Buckethead Sam over and out. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.